This is Raw Narrative. Raw Narrative. Stories in the raw.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Raw Narrative, episode 10. I am your host, Adriana, and today we have some fun topics to discuss. I really want to bring you guys into the world of the photographer's perspective of building a great team for your wedding day. I don't know, my podcast, I just want it to be a resource for my couples or just a resource for anyone who is planning a wedding. And we just talk about all things wedding day, all things photography. And so that's what we're going to discuss today is the vendor part of it. I know this is wow, we're already at the end of January already. And I'm trying to think of anything new to update you guys on. Last week, I told you guys that I am adding hybrid video onto my wedding packages as an add-on. And so that is legit. It's live. It's happening right now. I am running a special. I mentioned it last episode, but the first 3 couples to book an 8-hour plus package will get a free video highlight added on to your photography package. So I have 1 left, okay? So if that is something that you guys are wanting, go ahead and, snatch that up. 1 more couple will get the video added on for completely free. So it's a 5-minute highlight video of your day, no audio, just music, copyright-free music that kind of goes with your flow, your style, of course. And then a 30-second Instagram highlight with music, no audio. So that is super cool. Totally add that on. Now that is going to be available as an add-on. So after this last one is claimed, anyone can add that on to their packages. Okay. And then I have all my fun pop-ups happening. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the greenhouse one on March 2nd is completely full, booked out. Okay. I'm so excited. So if you guys are meeting me out there at the greenhouse, I'm so stoked. I ended up adding, so that one's just for couples. So I ended up adding on another date, but this one is specific to motherhood. So cute. Okay. I don't know, just celebrate mothers. I know Mother's Day is around the corner-ish because we're in photography world. We're always ahead an extra season because we want you guys to have your photos for Mother's Day. That way you can post them by then. So March 9th, I'm having celebrating motherhood kind of shoot at the greenhouse. So DM me for those details. February 10th is my elevated pop-up at the Providence Cotton Mill. That one is engagement photos or for couples, that type of vibe. So totally hit me up for that. And then I have March the 16th. That is another same style, but at Carolina Country Weddings. It's a beautiful venue, rolling hills. There's cute, foresty vibes out there too, whimsical feel to it. That one is super pretty. So hit me up for that booking link for that pop-up. But those are my pop-ups that I have up my sleeve right now. I am going to be adding on additional pop-ups throughout the year. Typically in the summer months, they might die down a little bit because that's wedding season, summer going into fall. And then I'll add more pop-ups definitely for the holidays. Yes, it's going to be so fun. So that's kind of what I have going on in the world of pop-ups. Okay. Now, I don't know, this week has been a good week for me. I think, was it last Friday? I don't remember. It was 2 Fridays ago. Okay. 2 Fridays ago, I had my curly girl cut by my girl Raquel. If you're in Charlotte and you have curly hair and you want your curls to be poppin' and these ringlets, I can't even they're, if you're watching on YouTube, they're just so pretty. And it's taken a year to get my hair in this state. So now, since I don't know, have been going to get like all the cuts, and like I switched all my hair product to Innocence Organic Beauty that she recommended. Awesome. And then I've been using her recommendation of K18 products. That's been amazing too. And it's like completely transformed my hair. So that is super exciting. Definitely recommend any of that. And even people who don't have curly hair, like those products are amazing. Okay. If you're like a bride trying to like, especially if you use a lot of bleach in your hair, like if you're a blondie and you like lift your hair quite often, that K18 and the Innocence Organic will transform your hair. Okay. Not just saying that for curly girl, because I don't know. We talk about all the things on here because we got hair and we got all things to deal with. So enjoy those little tips. I got a funny story for you guys. Let me pull it up here. So one of my friends from Florida, she actually moved to Korea recently to teach English in South Korea. I think she's in Seoul. She used to shoot weddings back in the day, and she decided that she wanted to transition out of that. And I think she still really loves photography, but she wanted to focus on teaching English in Korea. So that's what she's doing now. But she saw that I take submissions for funny stories. So plug in if you have a funny story, if you're a vendor, or if you are someone that has been to a wedding and have like witnessed something that was like hilarious or funny or different or crazy, or if you're a past bride, like hit me up with your stories. Literally the best thing ever. But she sent me this story. She's so cute. I wanted to share it with you guys. So she said, so it was a wedding I was photographing for a random couple whom I had never met before. Most couples, I've done their engagements with them before and then their wedding day. They were an older couple in their 50s, very sweet. I'm thinking now maybe I should have photographed them beforehand so I could have got to know them, especially the groom. He did something at the reception that I'll never forget. It was a pretty normal wedding. I was just getting my shots of the guests dancing on the dance floor. It was after dinner was finished that I was getting the shots of the guests and the groom dancing. And then the groom insisted that I danced with him. At weddings, I remain professional and composed. For example, during dinner, I got some food and I was hanging in a separate eating area away from the party for a few minutes with the videographer. I came back to get some more shots on the dance floor. The groom kept insisting that I dance with him and I politely declined. I want to preface, I never said I would dance with him. He wasn't being pushy. He was a sweet older groom, but you could tell they like to have fun. Now, I'm really professional when I'm working a wedding. They seem like they're the kind of couple who just wants everyone to have fun, but I want to remain professional. Anyways, after declining several times, he walks up to me and grabs both of my arms, pulls me close, and starts dancing with me with my camera in my hand. He was like swaying with me and I was still holding my camera. It was a little awkward for me because I was holding my camera the whole time and obviously didn't want to dance. Of course, the guests love this and he made me dance the whole song. I was being forced to dance against my will. I still can't believe this happened, but I know they were just trying to have some fun. I laughed it off and laughed the entire time it was happening because I didn't know what to do. I couldn't get away from the situation because he had a tight grip on my hand that still had the camera in it and an arm on my back. It was fine. He wasn't being inappropriate, just a moment I didn't expect. That is so cute. Like, okay, just being like introverted and being like, I don't know, like, I do not want to dance, like not in the mood to be in like the limelight. Like, that's pretty funny. It's funny, like everyone has such a different personality and a different like vibe to them. And so like thinking of my friend, she's just very like, she's super sweet and like super professional, but like just loves to have a good time, but does not want to be in like the center of like what you have going on. So that I can just imagine was hilarious. Being forced to dance against your will as a photographer. Too funny. Okay, let's hop right to it. Let's talk about vendors. So you just got engaged, right? And you're like, oh, I just got engaged. Look at my ring. Yay. And you're like showing it off on social media, and your friends and family, they're elated and they cannot wait to celebrate you, right? And then all of a sudden it's like, boom, time to plan this thing, okay? And a lot of times when you're planning a wedding, it can seem like super overwhelming because you're like, oh my gosh, like I've dreamt of this my entire life. Now, like it's my turn, my time to get married. And oh my gosh, like this is a lot. Okay, so here's the thing. There is, especially here in the States, there's like this traditional way to plan a wedding, right? And like, yeah, cool. Like if you're wanting the traditional wedding, that's fantastic. However, I don't know. I feel like we're like in this generation of, yes, like this is traditional, but like I'm going to do things different. I don't know. I've seen that a lot. Like I love these elements, but let's customize this and do this our way. Like I don't want just like the traditional wedding that like Gen X had or whatever, like especially Gen Z and millennials. We're just like, and me, I'm like a zillennial because I'm a 95 baby. So I fall like right in between, like I'm technically a millennial, but I can get away with like all the cute like Gen Z things sometimes. Like for instance, like I got rid of the skinny jeans, I guess. Yeah, I think I have like one pair, but I never wear them. So I'm like straight leg, wide leg pants. And like, but I will say I have the hardest time like not tucking in my shirt. Or like some, because it's like, oh, like the millennial thing to do is like do the front tuck. I don't know. I love to follow fashion. I love fashion trends. I love all the trends. I'm obsessed with cute trends. And I'll like try them on or whatever, try my own thing on it, at it. But I feel like that's such like this era of brides and grooms, like the couples, like we're going to do things the way we want to do them and customize them, right? But like if you don't know where to start, it's always nice to have like a little template, and you can like go down the list to be like, okay, what do I want? Obviously you want a photographer, like hello, somebody. You want good photos. Like that's a thing, right? No matter what you do, just like have good quality photos. I'm your girl for that. And now video. So you can knock both of those things out with me. But where do you start? Okay. Number one, if you get overwhelmed easily and you don't even want to plan the day, and it's like you do want somewhat of like a traditional wedding, hire a wedding planner, okay? It is going to be the best investment ever. Hire the right wedding planner. Our homegirl, Brianna, I have her under my Instagram highlights. Like, just reach out to Brianna. She's amazing and she travels, okay? She's literally on team bride and groom and will literally customize your day the way you want it. And she will make everything just go seamless. And she works so wonderfully with all your vendors, okay? Just a little plug, but there's a lot of great wedding planners out there. So grab that wedding planner, right? Next, you are going to want to lock in your date at a good venue. You need to ask yourself, like, what am I envisioning? Okay. Like, and this is where we talk about photo. Okay. As your photographer, this is why I want to talk about these things with you guys, because your venue is your photos. Your photos are your venue. Okay. So as your photographer, before you book that venue, you have to know, okay, what aesthetic am I going for? You can even like consult your photographer before you like lock in that venue, or just listen to this podcast and hear me out. Like if you're wanting like light, bright, airy, very like well lit photos, like natural light all day long, guys. Okay. So keep that in mind. And what I love now in like modern day, like I switched all my gear to mirrorless. So even like an ambient light, I love shooting an ambient light and like being able to capture like a lot of imaging like I love my flash. Okay. Don't get me wrong. I love a good flash, but there's some moments where I want like that real low lit moment and want it to be like crisp. And my gear, the ISO is like, I love it. So I love to shoot like without the flash from time to time as well in like really low lit situations. But just remember, like, think about the lighting. Okay. If you go and listen to some of my other podcast episodes, you'll know we talk about lighting all the time. So that's a big deal. So if you don't like warm tones, like don't have a venue that has like lighting with warm tones inside. Okay. If you want bright tones, you need to have something with like bright, like white around you. If you love that rustic, cute, cottagey vibe, like totally have something that, has that aesthetic, because it's just is what it is. Your photos are literally going to vibe off of your venue selection. Okay. So lock in your venue, lock in your date. Okay. But like if you find a photographer that you really love, so like let's say you found me on Instagram or whatever, or your dream photographer on Instagram, reach out to them and be like, hey, like what availability do you have? Or like before you lock in your venue, maybe the venue could put like a soft hold on your date. Be like, hey, like let me reach out to my photographer to make sure they're available on this date because I really want this photographer. So like just make sure that you guys, like if your date's flexible, that's pretty cool. But kind of like balance that. It's a hard balancing act to be like, okay, who is available? This is what I want and who's available, right? That's why it's so important to book your photographer and all your vendors like way in advance, okay? Book your photographer. Yes, your photographer is so important. Okay. And let's talk about the importance of like, I'm going to kind of hang out in the photo realm for a minute because that's my specialty. And this applies to all of your vendors. But who you bring on your day, like personality wise, like their workflow, work ethic, organization, good communication, like that is literally like the meat and potatoes too of your day. Like you don't want to just book someone because their stuff looks good. Like, yeah, that's great. There's a lot of talented people who are vendors in the wedding community, but it's beyond the work, right? Like, yes, like you want to fall in love with their work, like their images, but it's beyond that. It's, do you have open communication with your vendors? Are you having consultations with them? Are you speaking with them? Do you have a good number to be able to reach out to them? Send them an email or a text message if you have questions. For me, I value open communication with my couples, okay? From the time that when you book me, typically the next step would be, let's have a creative planning phone call or FaceTime call, whatever you're most comfortable with, to plan out your engagement photos, okay? And then we talk about a few things wedding, and then basically we get to hang out and photograph your engagement photos and have like the best time ever. It's like a little date night or date morning, however, whenever we schedule this. And then like I'm just third wheeling. That's kind of the way I love it to kind of flow. And then from there, you'll get your photos back like 2 weeks. And then from there, I love to schedule like a few months before your wedding date, like a first draft wedding timeline run through. Okay. Because I want to make sure like I'm on the same page as you guys. And I know things change quite often. And I know it's not always going to be like, this is what's happening like a few months before the wedding. This is just like, let's get things flowing. Like, let's think about all these details and maybe talk about things that you all haven't thought of yet. So that is like my favorite. I love our little first draft wedding timeline review from a photo perspective. For like, I'm basically third wheeling with you guys for like your whole day. And that's a big deal. Your photographer, your wedding photographer is third wheeling with you guys on your wedding day, like for like the whole day. Okay. You need to make sure it's someone that you get along with or you jive with their personality, because how horrible would that be if like you had a wedding photographer that like you did not get along with? They had like a personality type that just didn't mesh well with yours. So that's something to consider for sure. And then from there, like we do so kind of, I know I'm such a rabbit trail kind of gal. I'm so sorry, but I always come back around. I try to not get lost on the trail. Okay. And then what we do is like at least 30 days before, you'll submit your timeline to me. I'll help you build it if you need help with building that timeline as well. You'll submit that template back to me, and then we'll have a final like timeline review between 30 days and 14 days of your wedding day. Okay. And we're like on cruise control from there and up into the wedding day. And I'll probably like text you and be like, oh my gosh, it's wedding day, like the day before. That way, like homegirl is ready to rock and roll. We're ready to capture the day. Okay. So that's how I flow. Okay. Now I think like it's so important. Doesn't matter whoever you book, like have those consultations with them. Make sure you feel comfortable. Make sure there's enough information that they provide to you and you provide to them. So open communication. Okay. If you have never talked to your vendor up until like your wedding day and you've never had a conversation with them, never texted with them, if it was just like a booking thing, got the deposit and that's it, you don't hear from them, like that's red flag. Like you need to make sure that you have communication with them. Reach out to if you have not heard anything from your vendors that you've booked, okay? Typically after engagement sessions, that's a perfect opportunity to use that as like your photos for your save the dates. So that's why I try to get those out to you guys within 2 weeks, like maximum 2 weeks that way. And I give sneak peeks out as well. So that way you guys can use those photos for your, announcement or whatever. Or if you want to use them for like an invitation, typically they're like save the dates. So then from there, you guys need to make sure you book your food. If you're wanting to do food, this is just going off of like a traditional wedding day. You might not want to do food. Maybe you just do dessert. I don't know. Maybe you're doing a micro wedding and you're like, we're all just doing dessert. Like you want to make sure you book the food if you're going to be doing that. Like go to a tasting, make sure you like it, ask what the process is like. Okay. All of this goes into like, I'm thinking about all this comes together from like a photographer's point of view. Like all of these elements come together and they're going to be photographed. Okay. So the aesthetic of your venue is going to be photographed. Your stationery even, because detail shots, that's going to be photographed, right? So like think about all these things and how they flow together and complement each other. Okay. Your caterer, like, sure. I mean, food, sometimes we photograph some cute foods, but if you have like a cute like tower of things or whatever aesthetic you're looking for, like that's if you want your food to be, if you're a foodie and you want your food to be like incorporated in your photos and you want it to look cute and have like a cute aesthetic to it, like go for it. Some people like don't want that too. They're like, I don't really care about the food being photographed. Like we're eating, we're just enjoying the taste of it. That's awesome too. Okay. The florist. That's another thing to talk about. Your colors. So that ties into colors and color science and different elements of your day that coincide with like, how are these colors and textures being photographed and complementing each other? Obviously on your wedding day, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be in a neutral dress, right? And then like your groomsmen and your groom, you're going to be in like a neutral aesthetic. And then your bridesmaids, typically they're like the pop of color and you can play with different colors or maybe you keep them neutral, but you can definitely play with the different colors for florals. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed with flowers and I'm obsessed with plants, obviously, but it's a good time to like be able to bring everything together and like envision, like create a vision board. You can go on Pinterest and like create, oh my gosh, I love Pinterest, like your little vision board and pin all the different things and kind of see how they flow together. I am like a huge advocate for using Pinterest. So yes, make sure you are thinking about your colors and textures and what flowers are in season. Your day of coordinator, sometimes they are already like a lot of venues offer them as like, hey, like if you book with us, you'll have a day of coordinator to coordinate with you and coordinate with all of your vendors. Like that's great. Like, make sure you have open communication with them as well. So that way they know like exactly how they should be coordinating your day. All right. Even a lot of venues do offer day of coordinators, but make sure you jive with them. I would say like, make sure you get along with them. Maybe ask, who am I going to be working with? Like maybe you fall in love with the venue and they have like a day of coordinator, but that's up to you if you want to use them or not. Like you're the bride and you're the groom, like you're the couple. That is totally up to you guys if you're wanting to use the coordinator. So that's totally up to you guys if you're wanting to use that person, or maybe you hire your own. Just like don't settle for someone that you don't get along with. Okay. Make sure they're on your team, not on their team, right? Because sometimes it gets, I don't know, like if you're in the mundane of things, it's like you don't want someone who just sees your day as their job. Okay. You want someone that sees your day as like our day. Like I'm here to support you. And, we're here to make your day be everything that you've ever dreamt of. And I'm here to work with all of the vendors that you handpicked for your wedding day and you value each of them. And that makes a world of a difference, guys. Like a world of a difference when you bring people on your team to support you, okay? And I can't say that loud enough. Like say it louder for the people in the back, right? Like just really, 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 it's so important, okay? Because I've heard nightmare stories of people who have never met some of the vendors that are on their team, and it's like the personality is, even the way they treat like your family or things like that. Like you want to make sure it's someone who is here to like really support you guys, right? Okay. Videographer. If you are wanting like the whole kit and caboodle, like video production, like make sure, same with the photography team, like me, like we're working together side by side. Your video team is literally with you from the beginning of your day to the end of the day. Make sure you love their work, yes, but first and foremost, make sure you guys jive well together. Make sure their personality, make sure they're professional, make sure they check all the boxes, have good contracts, have good communication with you throughout the day, hear out what your vision is, because video and photo, we work together, right? So if you're wanting like the audio and the ceremony recorded and you're wanting like a whole video team on your day, do it. I think it's the most amazing thing. Now remember, oftentimes, like if you're hiring a video team, I'm going to be shooting just photo for you on your day. So, okay. A live painter. Okay, let's talk about this. This is something that I've seen has really blown up on social media, like live painting. I would love for one of my couples to hire a live painter. I think it's just like the coolest, most like, I don't know, like raw, natural, and like, I wish I could paint. Okay. I'm such an artsy fartsy person. Like I love the grandma crafts, like knitting and crocheting. And oh my gosh, I've been dying to learn like pottery for like the longest time. I'm like so tempted to sign up for pottery classes. I love like gardening and plants and all of that as well. I play music and all that, but I can't paint. Like that's the one thing that I've been like, I wish I could paint. Maybe like abstract, but like just beautiful oil paintings or acrylic or whatever. Like I'm in love with that. I wish I could paint. So when I see someone that like literally does like the live painting for your wedding day, I'm like, oh my gosh, how special is that? And so same thing. Make sure you love their personality. Make sure you have good communication. Like I'm encouraging you guys to like definitely book a live painter. I think I had recommended in the Charlotte area, go to my vendor's highlight in my stories. There's a live painter on there. Her stuff is super great. So hit her up there. But I think you guys should do that. I don't know. I think it's so romantic just to have that. And that's just It's so unique and custom, okay? Your DJ or your live band or live musicians, okay? Okay. This is so important. I don't know, like, I feel like DJs sometimes are like the last ones to get booked on your list. Like, I get it, but like, dude, they're literally audibly bringing you along your timeline for you. And you need to make sure that you book someone with a fantastic personality. That is like number one, because it's like their voice in the microphone. Like, you don't want someone just being like, all right, congratulations to the bride and groom. Like, no, you want like someone who has a great personality, a great voice to be like, all right, everybody, like getting you hyped up on the dance floor. They're like hyped up for you for your day. Like typically your DJ is like your hype person. Okay. They're like your personal hype crew. I'm definitely a hype person too, but they're like, they got the mic. So they're not just hyping you guys up, they're hyping your people up. And you know what happens when they hype your people up? I'm grabbing great photos because everybody's in a great mood. Okay. That is like uber important. Bring on a DJ who is like perfect, like hype person, has great taste in music, and can like have open communication with you. You need to make sure you review the timeline with them. I think I mentioned this like before, but like make sure they know how to say your name, your first and your last name, because if you have, hired a videographer team, like you don't want that recorded as like incorrectly. Right? Like send them a voice memo on how to say your name correctly so they can practice it. So like do your part too, but like have open communication, share the timeline with them. And this is super important. Share any updates to your timeline with them. And I've read off this funny story before, like way earlier on in my podcasts, but I had like one of my brides, we were out taking photos and then like their DJ announced them like as like welcomed them into their reception while we were still taking photos and like announced them even though they weren't there. Like that's awkward. And then like everything there, he like threw off the whole timeline, like nobody ate. I don't know. I just have this thing with DJs. Just book a good DJ, okay? And get like good recommendations. Okay. Your cake. Okay, this is another like aesthetic thing because I'm like, as your photographer, I am taking photos of everything on your day, right? I'm documenting this for you. What aesthetic do you want in your photos? Like not only is this like a visual aesthetic, like live on your day, but this is an aesthetic that I'm photographing for you. Make sure that it's what you're wanting. If you're wanting like a cake, if you're wanting it to be like a traditional tier cake or cupcakes. And oh my gosh, I have a bride. She's literally doing the coolest thing ever. I don't know if it's a surprise or not, so I'm not going to say it, but like make sure I can't not wait to take photos of it. It's going to be the cutest thing. You guys are going to have to wait until May or maybe like June-ish to see the photos, but eek. Okay. Just make sure it's what you want. Like it doesn't even have to be cake. Like it could be any dessert or any concept of something cute and adorable to celebrate you guys after dinner, like a cute after dinner teaser. I don't know, like it doesn't have to be the cake, but if you want the cake, get the cake, okay? Any rentals, like I love the concept of like renting linens and napkins and all those things that you'll probably never like use again, or it'll just sit in a bin for like years if you purchase it. Like just rent it. I love the concept of renting different things that you're just going to use for one day. Like might as well. Oh, have you guys ever seen like Rent the Dress? Like you could literally rent like your like the mom of the bride and the mom of the groom or different aunts and whatever. Like that's a great idea too. Like tell your people they could even rent their dresses that they're only going to wear for a day, like the dream dresses that they wish they could, that they've always wanted to wear. You can rent. There's so much that you can rent these days. It's insane. So make sure you guys get the linens and the tables and like all of everything, like paint it out in the Pinterest board. Like I'm photographing all of that. Like I think inspiration is great. Like you can look at different photos on Pinterest to be able to be like, okay, like that's a great aesthetic. Someone did that. I want something similar to that. Or you can kind of see that as a template and then make it your own. Okay. Super fun. And then, yes, you need to make sure you book your hair and your makeup. Okay. I think like this is so important. Okay. If you are not wanting to do your own hair and makeup on your wedding day, or if you don't have like a family member that or friend that does this, like, and you want it to look like legit, like wedding vibes on your wedding day, like hire the right artist. Okay. Do trials. Trials are like, do a few trials. I think it's so worth it because this is your face on like for your photos and it's your hair and for your photos. And like, even if the groom wants to do like a certain look for his hair, like have him try out a few different haircuts, you know, for the next few months to see if that's something that he wants. That is so important. And that's like the aesthetic, like the bride and groom aesthetic, like do trials, do like make sure it's what you're really wanting. And let's say like, this is a great idea too, is like if you want to do like bridals or something like that, you can even do a trial and we can, you know, schedule your photos to coincide with your hair and makeup trial. If you're like a natural, I'm trying to find like a vendor for you guys who had like my curlies, my girls that don't want to use heat in their hair. I'm like, okay, that's the side of Adriana. I'm like a curly girl. So if you are like not about using heat in your hair and you're wanting to rock those curls, if you have like a curly hair specialist that you see, I don't know like what her availability is, but I have like the best curly hair specialist here in Charlotte. And there's so many other good ones. I have like another recommendation too. So like maybe book an appointment to have like that like curly hair style, like styling done, like basically the wash and style with the diffuse. And then maybe hire like a hairstylist who knows how to style curls and like can do the pins and whatever and like refresh them for you on your wedding day. I'm trying to find someone for you guys local to the Charlotte or North Carolina area or someone that travels a little bit in our area here. So I think that's so important to make sure it's something that you love and to be like yourself. Like I want you guys, my dream is for you guys to have everything that you envisioned and like to set that up successfully. And we talk openly on the podcast about things not always going as planned. Things definitely happen. I mean, sometimes there's a lot of moving pieces, but if you guys can have really good communication with your vendors, amazing communication with telling us like what you're wanting and making sure everything's solidified, like a lot of times, like any relationship in life, like communication is key to success, right? In anything. So that definitely applies to your wedding day and like your bridesmaids and all of that. Like make sure and your groomsmen, you have open communication with them, have like a group chat with them and just like make it fun. Speaking of bridesmaids, this is my best friend, Madison, calling me. Should I answer? I think I should. Hello.
Hey.
Say hey, you're alive on my podcast.
Hi, podcast. Oh my God.
This is my best friend, Madison. No.
Hi, everyone.
Madison was the maid of honor on my wedding day. So I think it's super cute that she's like, I'm literally talking about bridesmaids right now. And
Are you really?
I am. I'm talking about bridesmaids and I have you on speaker so everyone can hear you. What would be like your greatest, I don't know, I put you on the spot. What is like, I don't know, planning behind the scenes of a wedding or whatever, what can the bride do to make it a great experience for the maid of honor too? Or like, What makes it fun and exciting?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She's like on the spot. She was like, I called you to say hey, not to be on your podcast.
Just trying to catch up as I drive to work.
I know. How's life?
Okay.
How's theater?
Your wedding experience was the easiest and most fun. So I don't even know where to begin, but I think something that the bride can do for a bridal party, and also like what the bridal party can do for the bride, is just to stay kind and remember that, like, it is a very special day, but that, like, your friendships go beyond the wedding day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that there's a bigger picture, and, just like constantly reminding each other of like why you're doing this, and making sure that like the bride does have what she needs. And, if there's anything that you can do to support and relieve, stress, because the stress it's inevitable, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
And just knowing that you're there to serve the wedding day, essentially. That's how I looked at it.
Oh, you were literally the best maid of honor I ever ever had. That's hilarious to say, because you and Kyrie. So I had two maids of honor. So basically, I don't. That's kind of like weird and non-traditional, but that's what I wanted. And so instead of having I didn't have like a matron of honor and a maid of honor. I just had two maids of honor at the time, and they literally they were behind the scenes collabing together. That's what I loved about having two, because it was like, okay, it doesn't fall just on one person. And so they were able to, I don't know, plan, and they did the cutest stuff for me. I remember the bachelorette party. It was so cute. We had do you remember the beach house? And
it was beautiful.
Oh yeah, we had our own little beach house suite. And when they got there before me, I think, right? And you guys set it up. Because I remember walking in, it was so cute. You guys had ribbons and little underwear, undies hanging from the ribbons across. It was so cute, so funny.
I forgot about that.
Do you remember? And did we play an underwear game? I think we played some type of underwear game where you guys bought me a pair of underwear. And I had to guess. Do you remember that? It was so funny.
I really don't remember that very well, but I remember I was living in Philadelphia at the time of your wedding, and I remember going into Victoria's Secret.
Oh my gosh.
So I remember that. So I imagine that we did play some sort of game, or else I don't know why I would have done that.
I know. Yeah, I think you had to everyone, and I had to guess who bought the underwear. Oh yeah, I guess Kyrie got me. The one I did know is because Kyrie has that Betsy Johnson aesthetic to her. She loves the cute eclectic things. She bought me these huge, not huge, but this pair of white underwear with a huge bow on the butt, and I was like, this is Kyrie all the way. She bought me these. It was so funny. And then, that was hilarious. And we all went and got our nails done together in the morning. I remember I got this Hello Kitty sparkle dip. Not dip, but a gel. It was white sparkles. It was almost like the glazed donut look before it was cool.
Yes, I remember. And one thing that really stands out to me that was a part of the wedding celebration, but not the wedding weekend, was your bridal shower.
Yes.
Yeah. That turned out really well, and it was beautiful.
Oh, that was really pretty. You guys put a lot of work into that, and it was beautiful. I just remember back to the underwear thing. So I remember we FaceTimed in my mother-in-law, and do you remember? And she wanted to be a part of the whole thing, and then I had to open up all these underwear in front of my mother-in-law on FaceTime. All this stuff. I was like, no. Paraphernalia.
Oh, who cares?
Oh, that was hilarious. I know. But yeah, the whole day was fantastic. I felt like I was very like detached. Like I was attached, but I just wanted to be married. Like I was kind of like
the wedding day?
like in general, like with
yeah.
wedding planning. I was just like,
Oh, yes.
like, I don't know what I want. I was like, I don't know. I just wanted, all I cared about was the photo and the video.
Yep.
That was it. And then everything else was like a bonus that came along with it. Because Tyler and I were like, yeah, we could even elope. But my mom was like, heck no, we're not doing that.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. But, you know,
and
it was cute.
Aunt Tasha did so much.
Yeah, she did. My aunt, she's phenomenal. She's a great.
Spearheaded a lot of it.
Speaking of wedding planning, yeah, she was like my wedding planner. Yeah, she did a phenomenal job putting all the details together, and it was like very low stress. So,
you know, it really was.
Mhm.
I mean, every bit of it was really low stress.
Yeah.
The weather was beautiful on the wedding day. I mean, yeah, everything just was pretty easy.
Yeah, I think so too. It was a great time. But thanks for your input.
Sure.
She's like, I was not expecting. Do I have your consent to put you on the podcast?
Absolutely.
Okay, there you go. Because people would be like, she didn't consent to this.
I wish we lived closer so we could do it in person.
No, Madison lives in Ocala, Florida. That's where I'm from. So that's where we met. We met in middle school back in 6th grade. And now we're pushing 30 and still besties.
Yes.
Oh, she's like, no, don't remind me. I always say we're pushing it. We're not quite there yet, but we're almost there.
Well, I saw on your Instagram today that today's 7 years since you got engaged.
Yeah, really close. I think I like kind of misworded it. So we got engaged on March 6th, but like,
true.
I was like, well, I posted like the little thing, the little burst that you took. So this is Madison. If you guys saw my stories today, Madison posted, she was the one who took the burst. And my engagement.
The one that lied.
Yeah. This is the one from my engagement story on my podcast where she came up from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. and like lied to my face about having this group project that she had to work on, or photography project. So that way I didn't know I was getting proposed to.
With this camera, I had no idea how to use.
It's hilarious. Well, she had this DSLR. And what's funny, you took it with you like the whole day, didn't you? And you didn't even take one shot on it.
Yeah, I remember that. Well, I think because I secretly was panicking because I knew that I probably wasn't going to know how to use it.
Well, I'm surprised you didn't like, I know it was hilarious and everything turned out so great in the end. But like, I'm surprised you didn't take it with you to be like, hey, let's play around with this thing.
Well, I thought I did.
I don't remember you taking shots
on our
though.
Sightseeing. Well, yeah, I think I probably tried, but realized, oh gosh, I'm not getting anything. Like everything was blurry and dark.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Oh Lord, that's too funny. Well, thanks for your input on the maid of honor's point of view.
Sure.
Yeah. Well, let me call you back, girl. I'm going to wrap up my podcast.
Okay, sounds good. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Love you, girl.
Bye.
Bye. That's hilarious. She's so cute. I'm so glad we had that moment together. You guys got to meet Madison. She's like my bestie. We've been friends since, like I said, 2000 and, oh gosh, I don't know. What was 6th grade? 2007? I don't remember. I want to say 2007, 2008, Y2K era. But no, like that was amazing. So yeah. Well, I think that's a great way to like wrap up the podcast, guys. Book your vendors. And I don't know why this keeps getting bright. It's because like the ISO is set on manual and the sunlight keeps coming in for the video. And I'm like, I don't have control of it because I'm so far away. But book your vendors, have good communication, bring the right people on your team, bring the right bridal party on your team to support your day. We're just here to support you and cheer you on for your day. So it was so great hanging out with you guys today. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Leave me a 5-star review if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of the fun podcast streaming platforms. But I will talk to you guys next time. Toodles.
This is Raw Narrative. Raw Narrative. Stories in the Raw.